Welcome to Africa on Arts TV. Each week, Africa Buzz in English and in French will highlight news, information, and views to reveal the true color of the continent. Darfur military leader in the custody of International Criminal Court and faced charge of war crimes and crime against humanity after surrendering to authorities in the Central African Republic. The court issued an arrest warrant for Kashif in 2007, accusing him of murder, rape, and privilege in the western Sudanese region of Darfur between 2003 and 2004. Prosecutors say he was commanded of pro-government Popular Defense Force that laid attack on towns and villages during a conflict that killed hundreds of thousands of people and drove more than 2 million from their homes. The court did not specify where he was being held. Former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir is also wanted by ICC on charges of genocide, war crimes, and crime against humanity. Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza, at the age of 55, have died after suffering a cardiac arrest. He was admitted to hospital on Saturday after feeling unwell. His condition improved, but on Monday he had a cardiac arrest and efforts to revive him were unsuccessful. After 15 years in power, he was due to step down in August. In 2015, the announcement that he would run for a third term plunged the country into chaos. It sparked anger. Some questioned the legality of third term bid. There was failed coup attempts, hundreds of people died in clash, and tens of thousands fled the country. After change of the constitution, he was able to run for further term in the last month's election, but he decided to retire and was to be known as Supreme Guide to Patriotism. He was also due received $500,000 retirement payout and a luxury villa. Ethiopia's parliament have approved allowing Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to stay in office beyond his mandate after election planned for August were postponed due to a coronavirus pandemic. The vote on Wednesday, 114 in favor, 4 against, and 1 abstain. The House of Federation have approved the decision to extend the terms of assembly until international health institutions have demanded the threat for coronavirus to be over. Lawmakers did not specify when the new election would happen. However, their vote was endorsed on recommendation by the Council of Constitutional Inquiry, an advisory body that held public meeting to decide a way forward after the delay. The body recommended for the election to be held 9 to 12 months after the coronavirus is deemed not to be a public health concern. Ethiopia's election board announced in March that it would be impossible to organize the vote on time because of the pandemic. Meanwhile, in Ethiopia, Ethiopia's upper house speaker have resigned in a part protest at the postponement of planned election in the Horn Africa country over the coronavirus, a sign of growing tension between her party and the government. Speaker Kiria Ibrahim is also a top official in Tigray Liberation Front TPLF, one of the country's major political parties that have opposed the postponement. The parliamentary and regional election have held planned for August ahead of the end of incumbent Prime Minister Abiy's term in September. No new date have been yet set. In television speech, Kiria accused Abiy's government of taking away Ethiopian sovereign rights without elaborating. Trump, charged with developing Nigeria's economy recovery plan for the coronavirus pandemic, says about 39.4 million people could be jobless by the end of 2020 if the government failed to act. The Committee on Economic Sustainability Plan, led by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, said restrictions imposed to prevent the spread of the coronavirus mainly affect agriculture, manufacture, and the tourism sector. It is said deep in the nation oil earning would result in $473 million shortfall every month. The committee presented its economic plan to the President Muhammad Buhari. Among its recommendations, its rolling out of mass programs that create jobs and utilize local material in agriculture, housing, and road construction. At the start of 2020, Africa's tourism industry was predicted to grow. The United World Tourism Organization estimated a 3 to 5% increase in the international arrival to the continent as a result of the demand for air travel and easier visa process. A coronavirus hit, airports were shut down, tourists stopped arriving, and the industry was forced to pause. Many countries on the continent also imposed lockdowns, shutting down hotels, tour companies, event centers, and public transportation. African airline loses $4.4 billion in revenue following the spread of the coronavirus of the continent. According to the United World Tourism Organization, the tourism industry, consisting of entertainment, accommodation, food and beverage, operating tour employees, more than 1 million people, each in Nigeria, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. It also accounts for more than 20% of employment in Seychelles, Cape Verde, Sao Tome, and Principe. But due to the spread of the COVID-19, many of its sectors are cutting jobs and losing revenue. The United Nations estimates that the pandemic will cost up to 2 million direct and indirect jobs in tourism of the continent. In Kenya, some hotels and guest houses on the Kenya coast reported occupied rate less than 7% in March. The Flamingo Beach Hotel in Mombasa, Kenya's coast, the hotel pool and lounge are empty. Its once sandy beach have become desert as a result of the virus. The hotel also had to deal with massive cancellation of holidays and a conference meeting. Food and beverage service are not left out, as business owners say they are forced to lay out staff and cut out their salaries. International travel has always been a huge factor for tourism. In 2018, it generated $38 billion for Africa. Cancelling and rescheduling trip could potentially translate into loss of $30 up to $50 billion in a revenue of the continent's tourism industry this year. But because of increasing cases in the virus, Africa does not have a choice. While offering low-cost tour package ahead of the next couple of years, it is less with uncertainty, and in a financial loss, the company is able to retain a significant amount in its customer and secure work ahead of 2021 and 2022. It is still unclear when African countries will fully open their borders to travel and tourism. While some countries are still operating emergency flights in order to rescue citizens stuck border, and some are still operating a cargo flight, for most parties, international operations remain grounded. The time will not be far when things will become more digital, as technology will play a significant role in the accommodation and the travel sector. People will start to check into hotels virtually without going through reception. In the same way, they will buy air tickets online and check in themselves as option to the counter. It will take the tourism industry at least 10 months to recover from the effect of the coronavirus. Some countries are already strategizing new policy to boost tourism in the post-coronavirus era. African countries need to make their holiday destination more attractive in the post-coronavirus era, as a lot of countries will be competing to get tourists to come to them. African countries need to focus on improving tourism service in order to attract tourists and stimulate growth in the industry. This is for today. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to wash your hand with soap and avoid a mass crowd. I'm your host, Bethlehem Baharan. Till next week, stay safe.